Hello, good morning, Justice Warriors, Justice League. What's going on? Let me grab my pencil. It's playing games with me, like everybody else in this world, right? So let me first ask you how the sound is, because as you can see, I have the AirPods in. I always want to call them like earbuds, but they're AirPods, I think. This is what my IT team tells me anyway. So I'm trying to sound like I'm like all with it. And you know me, I just like to keep it real and be myself. And I love that you guys are into that. So I have nobody here. How could this be? I even announced it a couple of minutes early and everything. So I had a ton of trouble with my live yesterday. So maybe there's something like that going on today too. I do not know. Um, I have like 6 copies of my live from yesterday. Only one of them should be public. There were so many bugs. I've never seen anything like that. I'm gonna guess that I was just like possibly upsetting some people with the things that I was saying because I was kind of letting it rip. And so now they've like blocked all of my viewers, and so that's fine. I will just have a conversation with little old me all by myself. If you're here and you can hear me, please say something just so that I know that the system is working. The reason I have these in is because there was a lot of trouble with the sound yesterday. I won't go into it. It was seriously problems that I've never seen or heard of. And it was kind of brand new, but kind of not. There was a little bit of it started on Friday. So I'm sure it's not my system because I'm covered on that end, and I am also covered with my IT people. But I'm completely shocked that there's nobody here. That is bizarre. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. But man, am I just like getting the shadow banning kicked out of me or what? It's not going to stop me from being true to myself. It might give me trouble on this platform, but whatever, homie, don't play that game. So stand your ground, you guys. Like that's the whole thing, right? That freaking Tom Petty song, that's one of the best songs in the world, according to my opinion. So Carmack, you can hear me. Thank you so much, my dear. I'm not familiar with you. Are you brand new or have I just forgotten and seen you before? If you want to share. Thanks for coming in and thank you for saying that you can hear me. So that's great. So I'll start with my normal. Please hit your thumbs up button and that should help the algorithm. Except, if I'm being like hardcore shadow banned, then there's probably nothing we can do about that. Seen before months ago. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming back. Yeah, I was saying some crazy crap yesterday, just speaking the truth, saying the really ugly things that I don't want to hear, I don't want to speak. And I think it kind of like went wacko with my YouTube stuff. And so be it. Que sera, sera. So please share the video if you think you have a friend that might like my style, if I have any style, that is. Make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed, because I didn't want the E to be cut off, because then you guys would think I don't know how to spell. Um, so yeah, it's my homemade sign. So a lot of people have been getting unsubscribed lately. So also if you turn on your notification bell to ring, it might let you know when I come on for a live or when I've dropped a new video. Lately, they've all been lives, but the live that I did yesterday went over to the unalive section, which was weird because the same type of trouble that started on Friday, I thought it was going to do that, and it didn't. It kept it in the live section. So that was cool. Aw, that's so sweet, Carmack. Yesterday's live was real and honest. Well, I am pretty real and honest all the time because that's all I have. Um, there's no reason not to be. Of course, you need to be careful with your information. You don't want to be honest to the point of recklessness. And yes, that's a lyrics from a Grateful Dead song if you're familiar. So I'm often quoting songs. I'm often quoting sitcoms, and I don't always make the reference because I don't want to be too confusing bringing up this, that, and the other. So, like yesterday at the very end, I brought up the Tranquility and Serenity Now, which is one of the best Seinfelds ever, right up there with Man Hands, if you guys remember Man Hands. So, yeah, I did uh, give myself a really nice manicure. I was going to say pedicure, but those are my toes. And I did not do my toes, only my hands. I usually will only do my toes if I'm going to do one or the other. But anyway, you guys don't care about that. You're here to hear my disclaimer statement, right? And check out my mug and my decor and my non-existent jewelry. Can you guys believe it? Like I'm totally naked when it comes to the jewelry. I hardly ever do that, but with the AirPods, I thought I'll just try to simplify. You know how I'm always talking about simplifying and then I'm trying to turn around and prove it to you guys. And I have a really hard time doing that with my decor because I love the candles and all the words of wisdom and inspiration. Love will save the day. We all know that, but we do forget. So Pixie Knickers is here and she's going to be painting, and we love that you're here and that you're painting. Um, so everything I say is always my opinion only, and it's only for the sake of conversation, hoping to spur a discussion with my amazing viewers. And I just can't believe that I have a true crime community, that I'm part of your true crime community, and that we've all been building this together kind of inadvertently from my end anyway. That wasn't what I thought of when I started with it. It wasn't what I thought of when I first kind of joined the true crime community. You know, I was really into just doing my own thing and just watching. I would reach out to a couple of my favorite content creators and, built a really great rapport with them. And they helped me get this puppy off the ground. And I am forever grateful. So, you guys know, if you've watched my channel, that's Paula Plunder and Kelly with Watts the Obsession. So some of my favorite content creators change over time, and there's some that I love so much. I can't imagine that that'll ever change. And then it might because of my moods or their moods or who knows, the way the stars are aligned. And then some content creators that I know then I just figure out how to enjoy them. Like if I don't like the things that they're showing on their screen or not showing on their screen, because we all know there's some that just use their icon. And that's fine, especially if you're busy doing something like painting or gardening or anything else, right? Driving, I mean, you definitely don't want to be looking at your screen when you're driving, but listening to something is okay as long as you're not touching your device in most states, right? So that's how it is in our state anyway. And I abide by that because it's just too easy to make a mistake. And I always assume that everybody else is not only texting, but also drunk. And not just texting and drunk, but also road raging. So I assume that everybody on the freaking road is drunk, texting, road raging. So I try to pay attention to everybody and everything. And it's served me pretty well so far. Anyway, I really feel that it's imperative to stand your ground. I did not finish my whole disclaimer statement. I like to always say something about the element of entertainment. So my videos to date have all been made for YouTube. That's an entertainment platform. I'm not trying to entertain you guys. If it's entertaining to you, then that's like a nice byproduct. But I am aiming to educate myself, and also hopefully a nice byproduct is other people find it educational as well. So I do better when I push myself really hard, and I don't have to come on live every day. I love to come on live every day. So I try to do that most days. If it's just impossible, I try not to sweat it. I just really like to see my crew here. So thanks again for being here, you guys. Um, I always want to remind myself and all of us to follow our moral compass. We see people in this land of true crime that have zero morals and negative ethics, in my humble opinion. And I do like to add rich lux when I say, in my humble opinion, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. There, I forgot it for a split second. Rich Lux was one of the first true crime content creators I started watching. I don't think he set out to be a true crime content creator. He more set out to be like a makeup and haul, like large purchases, kind of unpacking kind of thing. And then I discovered him when he did an interview with a young rap star that was at Astroworld. And that Astroworld stuff was insane, right? That was 2 years ago, coming up on November 6th. So it's been a pretty wild few years. I think that I first really got into true crime with the Suzanne Morphew case, and that was also during COVID. So they kind of went hand in hand. And finding the Watts, the obsession, I think broke the ice for me to look at that case because I never wanted to look at that case because it was just so disgusting. I have a lot of problems with people hurting people, but especially women and children, like, I mean, it's just kind of your typical, like, think of the movie The Titanic, and they're all like, women and children first. And then that dirt bag that sneaks onto the boat because he doesn't care about anybody but himself. So he's just like, oh, yeah, women and kids, they can die just so long as me and my ego and my narcissistic self are okay, right? Like, I mean, that was just kind of the all telling. Hey, Dana. Now, Dana, were you Dana Burger? I was wondering. I think you are the burger. Anyway, it doesn't really matter unless you're a hamburglar, which I don't think you are. So yesterday I was talking about Shanda, like I always do. And, um, I always have amazing things to say about my friend Shan because she's the Squirrels on Fire content creator. She does such an incredible job of community building. Like, that's her forte. She has a lot of fortes, you guys. Artwork and electronics. So she's brilliant with the computer. She's brilliant with all types of software and breaking down photographs and pixels. And you guys have probably seen her work, and she's just extremely talented, extremely compassionate, extremely funny. And one of the things that amazes me about her the most is how she can have kind of like anybody come onto her panel and she can make the conversation roll. And the last live she did was Friday night, and it turned into like almost a 3.5 hour live. So I had trouble trying to watch the whole thing. I got it finished yesterday, and I wanted to finish it before I started my live. So my live started really late because, I can do all this stuff while I'm in the middle of my workday. And it's nice that I have a lot of flexibility, a lot of just room to make it the way I want to make it, what works for me. And that way I'm able to multitask and get a lot done. And like I said, I like to get a lot done. I like to kind of have more on my plate than I can handle. And then I just kind of do what I can and try to not worry about the rest. If I don't have a full plate, if I don't have enough in front of me, I can get a little antsy, and I can also get very uninspired and then just like become a couch potato. Anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. We're here to talk about the cases. And I wanted to talk about the 7 psychosocial phases of development with Eric Erickson some more, some other stuff. But let me finish my thought about Shanda's live that I finished right before I came on yesterday. So I put a link to it in the description and I spoke about it a bit. And I was informing my audience, my viewers, that there was this like surprise guest named Marie. Her name was Marie Morris. She had a little icon, and she stayed on for about the last hour of Shan's live on Friday night. And I found her really fascinating. But so often, when things seem too good to be true, they're almost always not. So, taking a step back and re-listening. So I rewatched the part that she was in because I was just like, man, this woman was like razor sharp, but there was some weirdness to it too. Like she fell off a couple of times and she didn't say like, oh, I fell off. She just tried to play it like it never happened. That's okay. But she was really good at being on, as a panel guest, and she was also portraying herself as an amateur that's never really done anything like this before, to my understanding, if I caught that gist of it from her. So it was kind of interesting, like, wow, how can she be like so on top of it and yet, completely new? Of course, anything's possible. But in disclosing that she had FBI agents in her immediate family, those who have FBI agents in their immediate family don't fucking tell anybody that, okay? You guys might have known that. I forgot for a split second. So I've known people who have had FBI agents in their immediate family, and they don't tell nobody. So they only tell me because there's something about me that people tell me things that they've never told anyone before. Like I can't explain it. I don't try to pull it out of people. That's just something like a reoccurring theme in my life. And I don't think it really started until I came out of my graduate program, but maybe it did. I don't know. It's just that after I had my degree and started working full time as a therapist, I would try to like keep it on the down low. Like I wouldn't tell people I was a therapist if I met them at a party because then they'd start telling me all their problems and I didn't want to send them a bill. So so I just wouldn't tell people in social situations like that. But then they would like spill their guts to me and then say, "What are you, a freaking therapist? I never tell anybody this stuff. So what's going on here? You're a therapist, aren't you?" So, like, that has happened a lot ever since I started that part of my career. And, my career has taken many forms. I quickly landed in the legal arena, and I liked a lot about that. I liked the structure, I liked the boundaries, I liked the support, kind of the lack of chaos. But what I didn't like was the commonality of perjury, you guys. Like, I was working in the downtown King County Superior Court in Seattle, and it was just common knowledge there that everybody committed perjury, whether it was a layperson or an attorney or a judge or law enforcement, that people would tell whatever story they wanted to tell on the stand to make their point. That is the attitude of that court. I can't speak for other courts because I mean I worked a little bit in the court in Kitsap County. I would do like you know be an expert witness in other courts, other places. But really, and I did some court work in mental health in Northern California, but it was really King County Superior Court is where I had the the bulk of my experience. So it's hard. You can't generalize that that's the way it is everywhere because that's the way it was in Seattle, in downtown Seattle, in approximately the year 2000 was around the time where I started there. And I can generalize that that's how court is because that's my experience. But of course, I don't know other courts. I haven't been much to others, fortunately, because they're not fun places and they're pretty brutal and there's a lot of effery going down. So after I climbed the corporate ladder and did so well with this, that, and the other, I said, you know what? Screw it all. I'm going to take a job that I make less money, that I have more work, and that I'm not dealing with liars, not dealing with the lying liars that all they do is lie. And it doesn't matter. Like in that world, nothing mattered except how much money you made and how big your house was. And that's how a lot of people operate. And not my thing. Like, no, you can take that and shove it where the sun don't shine. But getting back into the Kylie Rodney case, because that's where I started my channel and that's where I like to stay. I feel like that case is possibly breaking, you guys. Like, I know that I might have just jinxed it by saying that, but there's so many things that so many of us are figuring out, and maybe we're figuring it out again. But things like when we listen to these tapes from a year ago and we start noticing again the similar things that people say, like the phrases that Kylie Rodney's mom used that were the same phrases that Scammy the Snake used. Like, oh, yeah, the last time I spoke with her, I told her, I love you, be safe, which is also super similar to what Jaggermeistro said his last text conversation or voice conversation. He never really says, like, I think he says it was a text conversation, but it's then kind of sounds like, or it's implied that it was a verbal conversation. And that was the same thing with her mother, too. So when investigators notice these similarities, and this is why they always take witnesses or suspects or persons of interest and they separate them immediately as quickly as they can. And they try to talk to them simultaneously in different rooms so that they can't come up with their story and, you know, all have the same story, that they're going to maybe try to have the same story but screw it up. But the other thing they do is when they have the exact same story with the exact same verbiage and the exact same sentence structure and fragments, that's when they sat down together and came up with a story. So to me, in my opinion, it looks like Jägermaestro, Scammy the Snake, and Kylie Rodney's mother all did that. They all had the same phrases, the same theme, the same this, the same that, and that makes them look sus AF, in my humble opinion. Yes, I am the burger. Awesome. Funky nickname from high school from that sitcom Step by Step. If anybody remembers, I don't. I barely remember. I remember the name of Step by Step. I'm having a bad day, lad. I'm here. Casey the cat. I'm so sorry that you're having a bad day. And hi, Susan Dodge. Having a bad day is rough. And it's so important to be inspired and to do what you love because we're all going to have bad days, even when we're inspired and doing what we love. So I just like to remind myself and all of us that it's really important to cut out the crap that doesn't inspire you, that doesn't feed your soul, right? Kylie's mom was under a trance or she was trying to put other people into one, in my opinion. Oh my goodness, Dana, is that what people meant when they were talking about? And I was going to talk about this morning too. The way she spoke when with her cadence when she would come to the end of the sentence and that last word she would come. I can't even do it. It was so gross. Like, I don't know what it was. It was that the trance thing? Because I think I do remember somebody making an analogy that doing that was a technique of trying to put people in a trance, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But I know that it was extremely annoying to myself and many, many people. Yeah, I'm the same, surrounded by people who think they are the big I am because they drive a flash car and all the things that go with that life. I just don't need that in my life, not important to me. Um, it's fun. Nice cars are fun. It's nice to have space, like a big house, but um, I've been there, done that, and no, it's stupid. I mean, it was disgusting, Dana says, and I'm sure you're talking about the trance crap. Yes, that's what it is, I believe. See, I didn't know that that was a trance attempt technique, but that makes sense. And yeah, because it kind of catches you off guard. You're like, that's weird. She keeps doing that. Every time she talks, she comes to the end of this tense, and then she does this. Ooh. So yeah, I guess it does kind of because you're like waiting for it. You're like, wait, that's weird. That's an interesting pattern. I am late. What did I miss? Well, Mark, you missed me talking about how completely insane my live was yesterday afterwards. I lost like 200 likes and no, 200 views. Like you only get like maybe 10% of the views. Do they actually take the second to hit that like button? And I get it. I'm like that too sometimes. So I don't, that's fine. But anyway, I had somewhere around 200 views and a bunch of likes and some comments, and they all got lost because there were so many glitches with people trying to watch it right after, like the replay crew, and maybe it was people that were in the chat who missed the beginning and then they were going back. Whatever it was insane. And I think it might be part of the shadow banning because I'd never had anything like that. And it was super annoying. And there was like a little kind of glitch like that on Friday, but Friday's live had a little glitch and it stayed live. This one yesterday went unalive really quick and it kept petering out as an unalive. Like I think there's like 6 copies of it and only one of them is public, the rest are private. I'll delete the ones that aren't um, public because I don't need more than one, but it was just bizarre. I'd never seen anything like it. And I thought, man, I really did say some stuff that I don't normally say because it's so gross. Y- YouTube sabotage by powers that be. Well, that Hamburglar family is in with the YouTube and in with the Google A, and one of the things I've noticed is the sound is not good. And that could be that I just need to have a mic, and it could be that the air pods will fix it. I don't know. Yikes, I think so. Something is off. Oh, and if you've noticed my videos, it seems like the what I'm saying is not synced up with the images, right? Ninja had a new video. Yes, she did. She's doing some really good ones. And then freaking Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G. I went to watch her videos this morning and I was like, what? She hasn't made anything in 3 days or more? And then I was like, oh, wait. Yeah, she told us she got put on vacation. She got put in a timeout. So, yeah, the MC Ultra is spitting nails and pissed as crap and threatening to sue everybody and to get her big daddy, sick him on us. And you don't want to deal with her big daddy because, he probably like works in Vegas or something. I don't know. Reno's right there. He probably's got Reno and Vegas connections because he sounds like a big daddy. Like when she talks about him, it's just like, yeah, just like if you have FBI in your family, you don't tell people that. You don't tell people, yeah, my dad's Tony Soprano. I mean, I guess when you're a complete lunatic, you do. So, oh, unpaid normies on YouTube are under attack for sure. Oh, really? So I just need to start getting paid. Is that it? I mean, I don't worry about that because it's just not important to me. I don't really make it my priority. My priority is to keep up with my brain and keep up with my viewers and to keep up with these cases, and that's a lot. So, I try to get my IT crew to help me with the whole ironing out the bugs so that I can get paid because, yeah, money's not necessarily a bad thing. Um, but one thing that's really cool about not getting paid is that I can, if anybody tries to say, oh, well, she's just doing it for the money, it's like, yeah, right. I've spent a whole lot of money building this channel and have not seen a profit of a millicent yet. It says that YouTube someday is going to pay me almost a couple $100, but they've been saying that since January and it froze. So my guess is that there's a couple $1,000s that I could have made that I'll never see. And that if and when the glitches ever get ironed out, it could be a good side hustle, right? I mean, everybody wants a good side hustle. You guys know my side hustle, lifeguarding, and I have a couple other side hustles too that I don't really talk about. You know, the jewelry designing isn't, it used to be. It used to be a full-time thing, and then it was, uh, anyway. You know, the providing expert witness testimony in court was an amazing side hustle. That crap pays like $1,000 an hour. Like, I mean, I'm not kidding you. But you're also expected to say whatever the person paying you wants you to say, whether it's true or not. And again, one of the reasons I got out of doing the court stuff is because that's how that goes. Like when you see an expert witness provide testimony that you know is a pile of crap, they don't care. Like they're getting paid like $20,000 for the half day that it takes. They don't give a flying F what you think. You know, if they win the case, if their side wins the case, then their prices go up. If their side loses the case, they still make the money and they'll still make more money because other scumbags will hire them to try to help when they're in trouble. So, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible that, you know, a lot of common people are convinced that they have to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God, and put their hand on the Bible, and they know they're going to get struck by lightning if they don't hold up their end of the deal. They believe that, and then they tell the truth, and they might ruin their life or ruin somebody else's life when really you are your own agent. I mean, if somebody says, "Does this outfit make me look fat?" How many times have you told the truth and said, "Hell yeah," and gotten your lights punched out? And how many times have you said, "Oh no, you look great," and everything was fine? I mean, that's just an example. You're not required to lay everything out there. There's some things that you're not at liberty to discuss, and you can take the fifth. And, you know, there's a lot of loopholes and tricks that lawyers know and nobody's going to tell you. So you learn these things when you go to law school, you learn these things when you work in the courts. I've told you guys, I haven't talked about this in forever. Like nobody tells you that you have to dress up for court. It doesn't matter who you are or what you're going in there for. You have to wear your Sunday best or it's not going to go well. Just know that. And you don't want to look flashy. And if you're a guy, you have to wear a sports jacket. And if you are wearing your sports jacket and you forget to unbutton it when you sit down, you're 1000% screwed because then when you stand up to address the judge and it's not unbuttoned, you can't button it, which is how you show the judge respect. So if you're not doing that, if you're not standing up and buttoning your sports jacket as you address the judge, you lost your case. Sorry, not sorry. Like, again, at least this is how it was in Seattle. And when I started catching on to this stuff, and I would ask people, how come nobody talks about this? How come nobody tells anybody this? So I'm telling you guys, so put the word out on the street so people can win their cases and have it go better. Wear your Sunday best, unbutton your jacket if you're a dude when you sit down, when you stand up, button that jacket, and people will tell you, like, "Oh, no, you don't need to wear a shirt and a tie. You don't need to wear a sports coat." Yes, you do. Don't listen. They're just testing you to see if you're stupid. Just like, oh goodness. Let's see. Casey the cat says, Jazz, there is something up with your channel. I couldn't find any sign of your channel or the last live. So the last live is in the unalive. It's in the regular video. I hadn't done a regular video since I was in Chicago, and it was like a 5-minute video about Hawaii. And then yesterday's live, which I think is about an hour and 22 minutes probably, is also there with the unalives. No record until much later when you tried to fix it. Oh, I know. One of my mods was like, "What the heck's going on?" I was like, "I know. I'm figuring it out, ironing it out." Didn't get the notification this morning. So I turned on the notification, what, at about 9:47, and I set it for 9:50. So there was only 3 minutes before I started. But yeah, it was the longest that I've waited for people to drop into the chat. And so I thought, oh, something is totally up. I've noticed that Squirrels on Fire have no records like she normally has. Maybe it's the new way YouTube are doing things. No records? I don't know. And see, that's part of it. Like, I don't like to think I'm being targeted because sometimes YouTube is just switching things up. So when I say paid, I don't mean advertising from YouTube. I'm talking about paid shills. Thanks, Dana. Thank you for clarifying. Because yeah, there's totally that. It was John Courtney who brought it up in the chat yesterday. Such a good reminder. There are many channels who get paid. Most of these big channels have agents, you guys. It's just like, if you're working in the entertainment industry, they have agents and they will not say anything that goes against the grain. Whatever it is that mainstream media puts out there, they will abide by that and they will stick to it. Sometimes they'll do like a clickbait and try to pretend that they're going to go against the grain and make a thumbnail that you're like, oh my goodness, they're going against that. And then you watch their video and it's not. They're like, oh, I just left the question mark off. There's lots of clickbait. And I used to try to do that kind of thing, like without doing clickbait, but I would try to make my video really appealing so that people would pick it out of the millions of options. And I just kind of quit doing that. Like, I just don't freaking care. Like, I want my channel to be strong. I want the information to get out there, but I don't want to like package it with like you're supposed to do like a surprised face. You're supposed to put like an arrow pointing to something, and then you're supposed to do some big cartoon bubble. Like that's how you capture the public's attention. So when you see those things on people's thumbnails, just skip over them. I mean, because it's just a sham. It's just a shill, right? And let's see, sue Google, LOL. Yeah. Yeah. So I did sue King County Superior Court and I won. And, I don't talk about it much because you're pretty much not allowed to talk about things like that. I mean, a lot of the things that I was saying in yesterday's live are things that you're just really not allowed to talk about. Again, it's like the unspoken laws, unspoken rules, not so much like a non-disclosure agreement. It's not that. It's just that you keep things on the down low unless you're a freak and a Nimrod, right? Like MC Ultra, who just like comes out and spills her guts and then says, why are you guys exposing all my personal stuff on YouTube? It's like, you did it yourself. So once it's out, it's out. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. And it's sad. It's really sad with her. She lost her brother at some point there in Truckee. I think he fell down a flight of stairs in his home or something like that. And now with all this stuff and her talking about him and then freaking out that other people are talking about him, it makes me wonder, like, well, did he just fall down a flight of stairs, or is that like the guy whose wife fell down the flight of stairs and he collected $250,000 of life insurance? I mean, if there's nobody present when somebody passes away, it's called an unattended death, and you'll never know. Law enforcement may never know, but they have to investigate it as an unattended death and rule out foul play. Like that's like the first thing. And in a case like Kylie Rodney's, they didn't know if it was an unattended death or not. So then you assume and you treat it like it is. You don't flip that freaking car over underwater. They were obviously trying to destroy evidence, you guys. Straight up, 1000%. They intentionally destroyed the evidence, and they should be held accountable for that. But another thing that nobody talks about is that there's no oversight. If you have a city government or a town government that's down with their crap, or a county government, there's no oversight. You're supposed to have, we all believe that there's oversight, that like the county will oversee the cities and the state will oversee the counties and the feds will oversee the states. No, they don't. They're busy doing other stuff. They're not going to step on each other's toes. They're not going to step on each other's jurisdiction. It's not their job, straight up. So if there's an entity of law enforcement and local government that are in cahoots that want to do cray crapola, nobody's there to punish them. There's no policing of that. There's no parent who says, you're in a timeout. You can't do that. Once in a while, the feds will step in and they'll start arresting people in city governments that have, laundered money, done the misappropriation of funds, and that type of stuff. But that's kind of the only thing anybody ever gets busted for. And that kind of thing happens all the freaking time. This hair is like weird. It's sticking out. Um, anyway, so yeah, it's hard to trust that Kylie Rodney's case is really being looked at by federal authorities, because you think that something would have happened by now. You would think that California Highway Patrol accident report would be complete by now. It's been over 12 months. Are they ever going to complete it? What they usually will try to do is wait out the public interest. And then once people aren't looking, then they'll just like slide it in there and go, oh, yeah, that was done. What? You didn't know? You didn't get the memo? So let me try to keep up with my folks. Laugh my arse off. Had an image of the expert in Amber Heard trial, Johnny Depp. Yeah, there you go, Mark Molina. There you go. I mean, I've seen some really atrocious experts sell themselves out and not care. And it's really, really nauseating. Late getting here, Parker 87. Is that like Stephen Parker? But I made it. Woohoo! Yes. Woo woo. Choo choo. We were talking about that yesterday. Oh my goodness. So one of the things that the guest on Shan's Live on Friday night said that shocked me was that the deli at the trailer park where the quote unquote last sign of life photograph came from, she said that Wayne Wu owned that trailer park. And I know that the sheriff Wayne Wu owns, like, I think it's the 7-Elevens in the Truckee area and some other convenience stores, maybe. And so I thought, oh, I had never heard that he owned that, but that could well be. And she was like damn sure that he did. And then Shan was like, oh, no, there's people in my chat saying he doesn't. And then the viewer or the person on the panel kind of changed her tune and said, oh, okay, well, his family owns it. Or, they own like 5 acres there somewhere. Like it kept changing. And it was like, so you don't know, is this somebody who's just a somebody, or is this somebody who's trying to plant seeds of misinformation in someone's life so that people run with it and then they go, ah, see, there's the source of the misinformation, it's that channel. So that's what we all have to be careful of. That's why we love having new people in our chats, we love having new people on our panels, but we always need to hesitate and just give it time and be skeptical, right? So yeah, just keeping up with the folks, keeping up with the Joneses. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good day to ya. Why is it not explained that in the courtroom it's maritime law? Right. Yeah. I mean, seriously, they'll tell you straight to your face, like, oh, just, wear whatever you want, make sure you're comfortable, casual. Like, it's like they're testing you to see how stupid and gullible you are, or because they want you to lose your case. But like, everybody will tell you that, even the people that you would think don't want you to lose your case. So, like, it's really a trick. It's sort of like, like, what do you wear to a wedding? What do you wear to a funeral? You wear your Sunday best. What you would wear to Easter Sunday if you were gonna go to church, that's what you wear. Um, but even if you ask, "What should I wear to the wedding? What should I wear to the funeral?" A lot of people will tell you, "Just wear whatever you want." And yeah, it's true, you can wear whatever you want, but you wanna look nice, you wanna look your best. It's showing respect. That's all it is, showing respect. And I like to say, you don't dress for the job you have, you dress for the job you want, right? You guys have heard that? It's one of my favorites because it's so true. When you walk through the gate, it is stepping into open water. Are you talking about the court? Oh, I see. I get it. That's yeah, and it's like a freaking gladiator arena, like you're gonna have to fight with the two-headed dragon and the lion's gonna try to eat you. And yeah, it's court is how you beat the crap out of somebody legally. Like, you can't put hands on a person and be legal, but you can sue them and hit them where it hurts the most, right? In the pocketbook. Um, wow, getting crowded in here. That's that's so funny, Mark. Well, be on alert. I think you might be the only wrench, so be ready. Um, Notification none for the wrench either. So yeah, it's the shadow banning, you guys. My sub numbers, I think the highest they've ever gotten maybe is 4,000.08. And it's, it slides back and then it stays stable and then it slides back and stays stable. And I think it's down right now to like 4,000.05, and I won't be surprised if tomorrow it's 4,000.04. So this is why I say, please share the video with people you think might like it. Check to make sure you're still subscribed. Turn on your notification bell if we want to test the system to see if it's actually going to notify anybody. Um, and so Casey the cat says, no, Jazz, I mean, in my own records, I have no records of you or squirrels on fire that tells me you have been on. See, make sure you're still subscribed and all that. Thank you, Casey the cat. So old notifications, your old records, history. Your history is not showing up in my history. Sorry, I'm shite at English. You're cool. So much clickbait over Suzanne Summers' death, very scummy. And yeah, I mean, it's sad that she passed away, but I believe she had cancer and she was like, wasn't she like 76 or something like that? And she had decided not to fight cancer with surgery or chemotherapy, that she was doing it naturally. And, I respect that. But I don't know why people would be making videos about it unless they're trying to turn it into something it's not. Um, Casey, try going back to the notifications and select all. Again, I've had to do it multiple times. Thanks, Dana. Mrs. Amir says, clickbait. Am I clickbait? Did I clickbait you with what I called this? I always come up with my titles super fast. What did I call it? I forget. What you want, right? What you want. So I was quoting the Beastie Boys, and I was also quoting, sort of quasi quoting Marlon Brando, which is one of my favorite lines of all times. The what you got? You guys know that, don't you? From The Wild One. Let's see. Another accident in Truckee. What, Mark? So yeah, I say jokingly, an accidental, natural, self-inflicted unaliving, right? That's what it is. It's a natural, accidental, self-inflicted. Like Kylie's. Wasn't Kylie's a natural, accidental, self-inflicted? That's what they are. Like right? Not. They did not want AWP there to find the evidence. Dana, I have tried all that stuff. There is nothing there. See, Dana, I have an unpopular opinion, but I think some of the AWP knew what was happening, Dana says. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, all that stuff then with Jared later on, like that was a whole bunch of effery. They were obviously just trying to blow up AWP because they had dirt on that town that they were trying to make go away, and they did a great job, didn't they? I think they contacted his cousin and had her do that stuff. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, it's disgusting what Jared did, but like manipulating people and using people as pawns with their trauma is particularly poor in taste, in my humble opinion. Um, Selling your soul for that money is real, and the initiation of embarrassment is real. Absolutely, Dana. And, a lot of people in entertainment, music, they believe that they have to sell their soul to make it. And many people will, just the old term sellout. Many people are sellouts. They'll say and do whatever it takes to stay on top, and they might come into it with good intentions of truth and justice, like a lot of people that go to law school come into the legal arena with good intentions, and then they just want to win at all costs because it's brutal. It's a game of gladiators, and there's no option to not win. What was that saying that Nike had when in the 90s, second place is the first loser? Like a horrible, like it's not how you play the game, it's whether you win or lose. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Opinions are opinions, facts are facts. And see, I actually disagree. My opinion is that some opinions are facts and some facts are opinions. And I love to quote David Byrne because he's who taught me that in his song. Facts are simple, facts are straight, facts are lazy, and facts are late. Facts all comes with points of view. Facts don't do what I want them to. Facts just turn the truth around. Facts turn living inside out. Still Waiting is the name of the song. I had to go through all those lyrics to come up with it. If you don't know it. I'll put a link to it in the description. David Byrne rocketh. And you guys, I got to meet that man too. I got to shake that man's hand too. I've had a very blessed life. And got to have a conversation with him, and he looked me right in the eye, and he was just like, "So, David Byrne, how did our conversation go?" I was really nervous. It was a book signing, and I asked him to sign my book, and I asked him to write it to my husband and to say something about our pregnancy. And he just thought I was so weird, and he looked at me like I was an alien, or he was an alien. And I tried to tell him what a huge fan I was, but without realizing, after waiting in line for like 45 minutes, I couldn't barely talk when it was my turn because I was just dumbfounded, like dumbstruck, the way you get when you're completely starstruck. Because to me, he's not a star; he's like a freaking god. So it was just hilarious, and so I just tried to say, I've been a big fan of yours my entire life. And he just looked at me like I had 12 heads, and it was hilarious because, like, isn't that what you would expect from David Byrne? He's the freaking bomb. And Stop Making Sense was one of the best movies ever. It's just a movie of a concert. What's even better is True Stories, his movie about the birth of the microchip in Virgil, Texas. And it's a true story. So Stop Making Sense. Go naked. God dressed me. Oh, you're so funny. Let's stop this nonsense. Go naked. That's cute, Mark. You are totally on it. Good morning, Harshwan. Accident MC Brother Stairs comment. We thought the same. Just took you a while to get to my message. LOL. Um, yeah, like at first I didn't think that. I don't always go to the conspiracy theory. I mean, some people fall downstairs. I almost fell down a flight of stairs, you guys. But luckily, I fell down one step and I sat there on the second step down and looked down the rest of the flight of stairs and thought, holy crap, like that could have been me. And I was just lucky. Like guardian angels, God on my side, whatever it was. But also, I did want to address some of the person who trashed me that I've been trying to, um, hold my own and basically clap back because she said something that I wasn't going to share, but I'm going to. She said that, Jazz has never lost a child. She doesn't know what it's like. And unfortunately, I have not lost a child. I've lost 3 pregnancies, and it sucks. So, for anybody that's lost a pregnancy, they know. And each time I thought, "Wow, this is awful," and I thought it would be the only time. Luckily, I already had 3 healthy kids, so there was that, but there's nothing that can prepare you for that devastation. Nothing. And it was very different each time. Part of what makes it very different each time is how far along you are and how much development there is. And nobody knows anybody's effing pain. And for that content creator to say that she thinks she knows anything about me is completely ridiculous. So she can bite me and I'm done. I'm just done. So like I said, I wasn't going to share that because that's really personal. And that's another thing that there's like a social taboo. You don't talk about miscarriages. And it's so sad because especially if you have no children and you miscarry, or God forbid you have a stillbirth, these things happen and people still don't talk about them because it's horrifying and nobody wants to talk about it. People don't know what to say or what to think or how to be supportive. Um, so yeah, I just thought I'd share, not to try to glean any sympathy at all. Like I said, I was extremely fortunate in that I had 3 healthy children to keep my rudder and to keep me focused. I've known people who've had more than twice that many miscarriages without having a child yet, and that's a roller coaster ride. I mean, just trying to get pregnant when you want to get pregnant and find yourself unable to get pregnant, that's really difficult too. And these are things that split up a lot of couples. A lot of relationships don't make it through, I'd say almost all relationships don't make it through the loss of a child, you guys. You probably know that. Um, Statistics is one of my big interests. I used to quote statistics all the time. I try not to because I am a nerd, but I try not to be that nerdy. Anyway, so yeah, losing a friend, a family member, a pet, loss is loss. And every single loss, every single trauma that you have reactivates every single trauma that you've ever had, no matter how much therapy you've had, no matter how much you've worked through it, no matter how resolved you are, trauma kicks up your old trauma. So it's just a good thing to know to prepare yourself. A lot of people don't know that. That's one of the many things about PTSD that many people are unaware of. And it should be public knowledge, in my opinion. Um, no, I didn't mean you clickbaiting. Other channels do that with their super over the top thumbnails. And yeah, it's so stupid. And yeah, it just makes you look like a jerk. Just like you're just outing yourself. But yeah, some of my favorite content creators do it, and I'm just like, okay, maybe not my favorite content creator today. I just wasted half an hour watching your video thinking that you woke up and saw the writing on the wall, and now you're saying that that's just your shtick to get people to watch. Um, so 16 thumbs up, missing Justice Warriors. Oh, 16 of them up or 16 are missing. Hey, Outdoorsy Life. Hey, where is Dex? You mean Bex? Fred, we are thinking of you. I know Fred and his poor puppy dog. Hey, Outdoorsy. Hey, Mark. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Wow, everyone has their pain. Right, Mark, and you shared that you've gone through a couple of divorces, and that's something that I can only imagine how hard that is. I mean, I like to say being married is hard. There's no easy way out. Like, life is a struggle, life is a challenge. And anybody who thinks that they've got it easy has is just naive and will be unpleasantly surprised in soon enough, right? Sorry, Jazz, for that YouTube and your tough days. Thanks, Mark. I mean, I'm good. I love my life. I love my channel. I try to focus on what is working. I try to focus on what's positive. And, I try not to sweat things because you can spend every minute sweating something, right? Um, let's see. So sorry you went through that. Thanks, Pixie Knickers. I'm just glad that I know what that's like for other people because I'm like that. I'm very codependent. I kind of care more about other people than myself sometimes. But when it happened, like the first time, like I said, it was unexpected because I already had three healthy children and never had had a miscarriage. And I want to say I was 40, maybe 41. So I had my last, prior to that, my last kid was at 40. My very last kid was at 44. So it was in 4 years that I had three. And the first one was so shocking. I was so excited to be preggers and devastated. And then I thought, okay, well, everybody's had a miscarriage. So there's mine. And then when it happened again, I want to say it was like a year later. Um, I was just like blown away. Like, okay, I didn't expect to have two in a row. And then maybe a year later, a third one. And I asked my OB, I said, well, am I too old? Should I not be trying to do this? And he was just like, no, your body's doing what it's supposed to do. It's, if there's anything wrong with the embryo, your body dispels it. So, you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly healthy. You've had three healthy pregnancies. You're good to go. So, a lot of what we know about infertility is not true. And if you are having your first baby over 40, you're in a completely different population, risk population, than if you're having your fourth baby over 40. So I had my fourth baby at 44 and she was fine, 100%. So, you know, so yeah, three in a row. I was just like, dang, like I thought three strikes, I'm out, right? But it's funny because we have four kids and people think that we probably had no trouble getting a family going. And it took us 6 years to have our first child. We didn't do any interventions, and a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I brought this up a few days ago with Moscow, Idaho, because there's so many twins in Moscow. There's so many twins in that Idaho 4 case. There's the triplets in the Idaho 4 case. We've all heard a lot about medical stuff within the school and the hospitals and possibly trans stuff. And I'm not talking about transsexual, I'm talking about transplants. And then all of a sudden it clicked last week, and I was like, is there like a fertility clinic there? Or do they do a lot of fertility studies there at the University of Idaho? I bet they do. I haven't had time to Google it. And remember, Google doesn't always tell you the truth anyway, so it's not a good idea to Google things and then try to pretend that you know it because Google might straight up lie. So, just so content creators know that, right? When they're going to try to sell themselves as an expert in this, that, or the other because they Googled a whole bunch and they think they know it. Like, nobody's that stupid. Come on. Plus, you can't remember what you Google anyway, can you? I know I can't. So anyway, yeah, the fertility thing, you guys, like that's a lot. And to go off on that tangent, with that Idaho 4 case, you had the whole like Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale. Seriously, you guys, am I just a conspiracy theorist? I don't think so. Kylie Rodney's case, her mother was all into the Handmaid's Tale. There's all kinds of Handmaid's Tale references. And then we've got Idaho 4 and that silly photograph of the criminal defendant sitting there all happy with his Handmaid's Tale book on his lap with Margaret Atwood in a lecture behind him. And I still don't think that's him. I still think that's a photoshopped picture. But let's just say it is him. Let's just say it is. Why did that photograph circulate when there's been photographs taken of the criminal defendant many other places with many other people, and none of that's surfacing? I mean, a family photo here and there. He was at a wedding once or twice. There's a Christmas picture, maybe, Christmas party. I mean, why did they pull that picture out? Let's just pretend it's real. Let's just pretend that, yeah, he was loving his opportunity to meet Margaret Atwood. I know I loved my opportunity to meet with her, and she was a lot like David Byrne. Like, she kind of thinks that the whole thing of her being famous and people idolizing her is insane. Like, she's just like, I'm just a person who has a pen and a piece of paper and some weird ass ideas. So, I mean, so yeah, like what's up with these amazing young fertile hotties unaliving or disappearing? I mean, we still don't know 100% that that was Kylie Rodney in the boot of the vehicle. There was no DNA test. There was no dental records. There was no family ID. There was no actual ID of her. There was no legal identifying it was her. No identification. Then you've got Idaho 4 with those 4 people unalived in the 1122 King Road residence. And who has ever seen a picture or a videotape of any of their remains exiting the residence? Something about that, you guys, that isn't right. Typically, you see the authorities carrying the body bags out, typically within 5 hours, but they didn't even show up for 4 hours. So maybe in a case like that, when they can't get their butts there for 4 hours, then maybe it's going to be more like 10 hours. They took all the 3D images and all that. That's what you do. You take photographs of everything, and then you get that person's remains on ice so that they don't decompensate further, so that you can do a thorough autopsy. Like, if there's substances, like let's say that the 4 people in Idaho were roofied, wouldn't all of that substance have like dissipated in the 12 hours before they were even seen by law enforcement, let alone taken off the property to the autopsies? Okay. Um, I have 2. My older sister is now 18, and her 14-month-old, whom I almost lost to. Oh, not sister. I have 2. My elder is now 18 and have a 14-month-old whom I almost lost to. Not easy to deal with pregnancy or infant loss. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine, you know, the for my own experience, the further along I was, the more difficult it was psychologically, not just physically. So the more developed that baby is, really tough. And it's so touchy. Yeah. And again, it's women's issues. And, women are just hysterical, wandering uteruses that need to be knocked up so that they can quit being a wandering uterus and they can get focused. Like, that's right there. That's the platform for the birth of psychology, you guys. I'm just keeping it real. So before we run out of time, oh, and we are out of time. Why don't we plan for tomorrow to talk about the Eric Erickson psychosocial development and other Freudian and Alfred Adler and Carl Jung and some others. Because, yeah, unfortunately, I do need to wrap up real quick. It got late all of a sudden. How did that happen? I was only supposed to be on here for an hour and it's an hour and 10 minutes already. So I need to wrap it up quickly. So I'm just going to try to read a couple more of your comments and then sign off, you guys. Sorry about that. I already had PTSD, but went through something by two people that really messed up my mind. It was so bad that I have to think of past trauma just to try to get through it. It really hurt me. And we'll talk more about trauma too, because the things that can trigger you can also become triggers for uh, turning a corner. Seriously. The things that trigger you, the very things that trigger you can become triggers for healing. So we'll talk about that. Life is brutal and beautiful. Extremely sorry for, yes, lost babies. You never get over it. Oh, I'm so sorry, Casey the cat. So sorry. And are they cloning humans in Idaho, Dana? And remember, there was that question in Truckee too. I'm gonna guess yes, but that's just like shooting from the hip. We can talk more about that tomorrow. Love your authenticity. You delight some, but disturb others. You're good company unless you've got something to hide. I always tell people that. Like most people love me unless they have something to hide, then they hate me. So even if I'm not onto their crap, they're scared of me because I'm onto other people's crap and they have something to hide. So yeah. So many twin siblings and fertility surrounding these cases. Um, Glad I'm not the only one. Organ harvesting, big money. Yeah, and see, and that happens at, I want to say, every hospital, every university with a medical school. I mean, that's just part of life. Again, something that none of us want to talk about. It happens everywhere. And a lot of it's legal, but there's a lot of it that's not legal. So they kind of go together. Suspicious of Jack D and his doctor parents who spend a lot of time in Africa. So Dana, I think it's Jack Showalter whose parents are doctors. Jack D's father is a teacher at the school that Kaylee and Maddie met at, which is also, it's like a private school there in um, Coeur d'Alene where Jack D went. And I think his mom might work there too. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm suspicious of Jack D still, just like I'm still suspicious of uh, Jagermeistro. Just because Jack D didn't have any scrapes on him doesn't mean he didn't have any involvement. I mean, he was with them up until they left to go to the grab truck. He was at the corner club with them. And then they texted him and called him 10 times. I mean, give me an effing break. Like, he was involved to some degree. I don't know. I don't know if he's a guilty party, but he was very involved with those girls in the very last hours of their existence. That's a fact. All the delays in Idaho appear intentional. Love your lives. Thank you. Thanks, Brenda. And hi, Brenda. Hi, Rachel. And hi, Mrs. Amir. I don't think I said hi to you guys. I love being able to say hi to you guys. Like it's not such a quickly rolling chat that I can't do that. Um, so yeah, I do need to wrap up. Illegal organ harvesting. I said harvest. Yeah, I used to have a speech impediment when I was like 5. Yeah, you're right. Wrong, Jack. It's all right. It's cool. Just I just like to try to be specific when I catch it because I make my mistakes too. So I always try to catch them. I always try to address them. His mom works there too. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if she was a teacher or an administrator or what. I think his father has taught there for a very long time, like 15 years or something. Um, and you guys are aware that the professor who complained about BK is also part of Pullman Police Financial Committee. Mrs. Amir, thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about. Um, it's so much BS. So much BS. Yes, the professor also has a family. You guys, I got to wrap it up. Can we stop with the amazing comments and just pick it up in the comment section or tomorrow, please? Please. Yes, the professor also has a family member that works at the Moscow PD. In my opinion, too, both Jacks are connected to the crime. All right, you guys, peace out. Sending you light, sending you love. Have a fabulous afternoon. Dang it, Nancy. I just got here. I have to. I love you all, and take really good care of yourself. Eat your protein, eat your veggies, stay hydrated, stay kind, stay hopeful, get your fresh air and sunshine, and just be you. So we'll see you tomorrow, and thank you so much. And hopefully the stream won't have any trouble